All right, so you sent over some pretty wild articles this week,
Yeah.
and this story about this forest in Hyderabad, Kancha Gachibowli. Man, it really sounds like things just went crazy there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is pretty wild how this just like blew up
Yeah.
from just like a local thing to like all of a sudden nationwide.
Right.
And the Supreme Court of India is involved.
Yeah, so we're deep diving into all this controversy surrounding the deforestation at Kancha Gachibowli.
Okay.
And looking at your sources, we really want to highlight this clash
Yeah.
between all these different perspectives on, conservation and development.
Hmm.
So we're going to try to just figure out what are the most important things happening here
Right.
and what does it mean for,
Yeah. What are the big takeaways here?
yeah, the bigger picture.
Yeah. And it's pretty crazy how
Yeah.
fast this
Yeah.
all like
Right.
escalated.
It's not like just a local thing. It's
Yeah.
like a huge deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
To set the stage here for everyone, Kancha Gachibowli, it's right by the University of Hyderabad.
Okay.
So it's not like this far off
right.
wilderness or anything like that. And it's like one of the last urban forests,
Wow.
in that area.
That's so important for city.
Right. I mean, it's a crucial green lung for
Right.
that entire city.
Yeah.
And the biodiversity
Sounds
is just
like
off the charts.
I was reading about that.
734 species of flowering plants,
Yeah.
10 mammal species, 15 reptile species, and 220 bird species.
Wow. That's insane.
That's a whole ecosystem just thriving.
Yeah, it makes you think about like
Yeah.
what we lose when we lose these like urban green spaces. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like they're not just pretty to look at.
Right.
They're like supporting this whole web of life and stuff.
Totally. And who knows?
Yeah.
In those 734 plant species, like what kind of medicinal properties we could find.
Oh, totally. Or like unique ecological
Yeah.
roles. We
Right.
just like wipe them out. Yeah. Before we even know.
Yeah, so the government's initial plan, which came out in February 2025,
Okay.
was to just auction off these 400 acres.
Wow.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Build IT parks. And their whole rationale, which makes sense on the surface, right? It's all economic.
Makes sense, right?
50,000 crore rupees, potentially, in investments.
That's a lot.
Right. And they said up to 5 lakh new jobs, plus it's in Hyderabad's financial district.
Oh, yeah. That's prime real estate.
So economically, I mean, it's like,
Yeah. It seems like a slam dunk.
right.
Yeah. But did they do any studies about like the long-term
That's what I was thinking.
economic impacts of like
think, yeah.
getting rid of all that
Right.
green space, you know?
What about the air quality
Yeah.
and like public health cost?
What about like the city's livability?
Yeah.
You know, will other people even want to invest there if it's just like all concrete,
That's a great point.
you know?
So like right away, these protests
Yeah, I read about that.
just erupts. And it's interesting, like it was mostly students from the University of Hyderabad.
Oh,
So
sure.
this is not like,
Just like a small group of people.
yo, it was like a movement, like
Yeah.
a well-organized movement.
I wonder why people like responded so strongly to this one.
Yeah.
Compared to other land use disputes, you know?
Well, I think the thing that really set everybody off, number one,
Yeah.
they just started cutting down trees,
Oh, wow.
like immediately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like 10,000 trees out of 17,700.
Wow.
So like that's a ton of trees.
Yeah.
But there was this video
Oh, I think I saw that.
that went viral.
The one with the peacocks?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
This peacock's just
Yeah.
like freaking out.
Yeah, like amidst all the destruction.
Right.
It was so sad.
And it was just like, that really hit home
I know.
for people.
It like made it real for people you know.
Yeah. And then, of course, just the whole thing about the loss of habitat,
Yeah.
for all these species.
Right, all that biodiversity that we were just talking about.
And the students, they were like, no, we're not going to stand for this.
Yeah.
They had a list of demands. They were like, okay, number one, we want this land formally registered under the university.
Okay.
Number two, all the police off campus right now.
Wow.
Because there were some clashes
Oh, we're really
with police and protesters.
Oh, wow.
3, get all machinery out of here.
Right.
And they also wanted like a clear condemnation
Yeah.
of what they were calling a brutal police crackdown.
Wow. So they were really serious.
Oh, yeah. And by April 1st, 2025,
Yeah.
they had escalated this to like, we're not going to class, like an indefinite boycott.
That's a big deal.
And some people were even on hunger strike.
Wow.
I mean, that shows you
Yeah.
how serious they were taking this.
Yeah, it's not just like they were opposed to it, right?
They felt like they had to take action.
They felt personally responsible.
Right. And their concerns were like really valid.
Yeah.
This forest is like a giant urban carbon sink.
Oh, yeah.
in a city that already has problems with air quality.
That's so important for, like, climate change and, like, the urban heat island effect.
Totally. And
Huh.
it's not just any old plants and animals.
Yeah.
Like, there are species that are officially protected
Oh, wow.
under Indian law. So destroying their habitat is not just an ecological problem, it's a legal problem.
Totally. Yeah, and it's not just about, like, the individual species either.
Yeah.
Like, getting rid of all that forest is going to affect everything.
Yeah, it's the whole ecosystem.
The whole ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Like the food chain.
The protesters and the activists were all saying, like, look, if you keep cutting down these trees, we're going to have problems with water.
Yeah.
The air quality is going to get even worse. It's going to get even hotter here.
Right.
And they weren't just appealing to emotions.
Yeah.
They were saying, legally,
Yeah.
this is wrong.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do an environmental impact assessment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they just started cutting down trees without even, like, studying what the effects would be.
Exactly.
That's a big no-no.
Right.
I mean, what is an environmental impact assessment anyway?
So basically, it's this really detailed study that you're supposed to do before you start any big project that could affect the environment.
Okay.
And it's supposed to, like, lay out all the ways that the project could damage the environment.
Right.
And then it's supposed to say, okay, and here's how we're going to, like, minimize the damage. So the fact that they just, like, skipped over that is...
It's a huge red flag.
It's a big deal. So this is where the courts stepped in.
Okay.
On April 2nd, 2025, the Telangana High Court,
Yeah.
they were hearing this public interest litigation, or a PIL, which is like a lawsuit that anybody can file in the public interest.
Got it.
They said, halt. Stop cutting down the trees.
Well, so they at least saw
Yeah.
that there was a problem.
Yeah. And they were like, we're going to adjourn this. We need to hear more.
Okay.
And then the very next day, April 3rd,
Okay.
the Supreme Court of India,
Wow.
they just took this up themselves, sua motu cognizance.
Oh, wow. So they didn't even wait for somebody to come to them?
No, they were like, this is a big deal. We're stepping in.
That's huge.
Right.
They must have seen it as like a national issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they did not mess around. They were like, stop all tree felling in this 400-acre forest right now. And then they were like, okay, government, tell us why you needed to do this so urgently that you were willing to just, you know, disregard all these environmental concerns.
Yeah. What was the big rush?
Right. And then, this is a big one.
Yeah.
They said to the chief secretary of Telangana, they were like, you are personally responsible for making sure that nobody cuts down any more trees.
So they like put their job on the line.
Yeah, it was serious business. And they didn't stop there. They were like, okay, now show us all your environmental clearance papers.
Right. Did you do the environmental impact assessment or?
Yeah, show us your EIA certificate.
Yeah.
And then they even said, we're a little bit concerned about the fact that, you know, there are peacocks here and all this other wildlife.
Yeah.
This looks like a protected forest to us.
It's like they were saying, come on, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
Like this isn't just some empty lot. This is a forest with like actual animals.
Yeah. So the government at first, they were just like, no, this is our land. It's not the university's land. We can do what we want. The Telangana government and the Telangana Industrial Infrastructure Corporation, they were like, this is already indicted in court. It's our land.
Okay.
And besides, the university agreed to a land survey back in July 2024.
But I thought you said that the university denied that.
Yeah, the university registrar was like, nope, never happened.
So what was the truth?
Who knows, right?
Right.
And the government was like, look, we need these jobs. We need this money.
Right. The economic benefit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then all the pressure, the protests, the courts breathing down their neck, they totally changed their minds.
Right.
Yeah, they were like, all right, we're not going to auction it off.
So what are they going to do?
Well, they had a new plan.
Okay.
They were like, we're going to take this entire 2,000 acres.
Wow.
And we're going to make it into an eco park.
So they completely changed course.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's this eco park going to be like?
Okay, so they said they're going to build these tall observatories so you can see everything.
Okay.
Walking trails. They'll have areas for the wildlife.
Nice.
Butterfly gardens.
Ooh, that sounds pretty.
Open air gyms.
Okay.
Even a turtle park.
Wow.
And they're talking about like studying the soil.
Oh, cool.
And like planting a bunch of different native trees.
Okay, so are they actually going to like protect the biodiversity?
Well, I mean, that's what they're saying.
Yeah. They're calling it a micro-ecosystem model for conservation.
That sounds promising.
Yeah, we'll have to see what actually happens.
Right.
But to really understand all of this, we need to like zoom out.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture of what's happening with forests in Telangana.
Yeah.
So your articles, they pointed out that since Telangana was formed in 2014,
Yeah.
they've actually lost forest cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of all these development projects.
Oh, interesting.
Like irrigation and road construction.
Right.
But, like, historically, Telangana was known for its biodiversity.
Oh, really?
Especially these dense teak forests in the Godavari Basin.
Oh, wow.
So it's like this region has this history of, like, beautiful nature that's now, like, under pressure from all this development.
Right.
Now, it's not like Telangana hasn't tried to, like, do some conservation.
Okay.
They had this program called Harita Haram back in 2015.
Okay.
And they were like, okay, we're going to get our forest cover up to 33%.
That's ambitious.
I know, right? By planting 230 crore saplings.
Wow, 230 crore.
I know that's a lot of saplings.
That's a huge number.
And they did plant a lot.
Okay.
177 crore.
Wow.
But the survival rates weren't that good.
Oh, so it's not just about planting the trees.
Exactly.
You got to make sure they actually live.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in March of 2024,
Okay.
the government was like, okay, we're going to follow the National Forest Policy of 1988,
Okay.
which also wants 33% forest cover nationwide.
Okay.
But for Telangana to get to that goal, they would have to add 10,000 square kilometers of forest.
That's a lot of forest.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then the Hyderabad Metropolitan Development Authority, the HMDA, they put out their master plan for development in 2023.
Okay.
But a lot of environmental groups were like, hold on a second.
What was wrong with it?
You're not doing enough to actually protect the existing forests.
So it seems like there's this tension between, you know, what they want to do with the development, and, like actually taking care of the environment.
Like they want to have it both ways.
Right.
So where do things stand now with this whole Kancha Gachibowli thing?
Yeah.
Well, no more tree cutting for now.
Okay.
Because of the Supreme Court.
Right.
And the government has this new eco-park plan.
Right.
But there's this other thing that has come up.
Oh, yeah.
They're talking about moving the whole university.
Really? Like relocating the whole university?
The whole University of Hyderabad.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, out to the suburbs, to this future city.
That seems like it would be really disruptive.
Right. Like, what about the students, the faculty, their research?
And just the community that they've built there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're saying they're going to give the university 100 acres for a new campus.
100 acres?
Which...
That doesn't seem like much.
Well, they have over 1,600 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they're asking them to, like, squeeze into a much smaller space.
Yeah. And they're saying, oh, but don't worry, we'll give you 1,000 crore rupees.
Okay. But is money really going to make up for all that space and the existing infrastructure and
the trees?
Yeah, and the whole environment that they have there?
Exactly. And the students are like, no way.
Yeah.
This is not a fair trade.
Yeah. I mean, they probably feel like really connected to their campus.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then to make things even more complicated.
Oh, no, what?
The Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they're involved now.
Oh, wow.
They want a full report from the Telangana Forest Department.
So it really has become a national issue.
It has, about all the deforestation that's already happened.
Yeah.
So this is like a really long way from over.
Wow. Yeah, this is complicated.
Yeah, and I think what it shows is that, like, this whole idea of, like, balancing development with the environment.
Right.
It's not easy.
It's a tough one.
And it's not just India, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And this one case, it just like brings all of that tension.
And to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it shows you how important these forests are.
Right.
You know, even in cities, they're like vital.
Totally.
They're not just nice to have. They're like...
They're part of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also shows like how powerful it can be when people speak up.
Yeah. Especially when it's young people.
Especially young people, yeah.
Leading the charge, it's inspiring.
Yeah, and the courts, they play a huge role
Right.
in, like, making sure the laws are actually followed.
Yeah, holding people accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just makes you think about, like,
Yeah.
what kind of development do we want?
Right.
Do we just want development that, like, makes money right now?
Yeah.
Or do we want development that, like, thinks about the future?
Right, that's sustainable.
Yeah, like, what's the cost of all this? So this whole situation, this little forest, it's raised this huge question for all of us.
It really has.
So we've got all these things happening at once. Right. We've got the economy, we've got the environment, we've got people protesting, we've got the courts.
Yeah.
Like, how do we make sure that development doesn't destroy the planet.
Right.
It's a huge question.
Yeah, it's a question for everybody.
And it's not going away.
No.
So thank you for joining us for this deep dive into all of this.
Yeah, this is a lot.
So just to recap, we started with the government's plan to, like, get rid of the forest.
Right, just wipe it out.
And then all these protests started.
Yeah, the students really stepped up.
Yeah, and the courts got involved.
And the government changed their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we looked at, like, what's happening with forests in Telangana in general.
It's a complicated situation.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep learning about this,
Yeah.
You could look into the benefits of urban forests.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Or you could compare different countries' environmental laws.
Right.
Or you could look at other cases where development has clashed with conservation.
And see how they turned out.
Yeah, and as you're looking into all of this, think about, like, what can you do in your own life to make sure that we're developing in a way that doesn't wreck the environment.
Because everybody has a part to play.
Every little thing matters.
Yeah.
Because, like, this is the future of our planet we're talking about.
Yeah, we need to get this right.
We do.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.